What is going on, everybody? You might recognize this room. I got the GoPro. Excuse the bathroom fan up there. It is attached to that light, and if we don't turn that light on, you can't really see what I'm talking about. So excuse the fan noise if you hear it. You guys might remember we completely redid this bathroom. New shower, new floor. We built the vanity. I built the frames. I didn't show those on the YouTube channel. This was the first countertop at all that I ever did with an epoxy finish. And the finish isn't holding up so well. It's actually not the finish that's not holding up well is my fault. And I also think why we're seeing deficiencies or seeing, what's the right word for, like, small problems. Whatever that big word is, let me know in the comments down below. We're seeing that here in the countertop, like micro fissures, and I think that it might be from me not sanding enough, but I'm not really sure. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna take the new SurfPrep so we can get right up in the corners there. We're gonna sand this down, scuff it up. We're going to remove the epoxy on the inside, probably remove the faucet, tape everything off so that we can put a new coat of clear epoxy on the top here. Now, this was just a random tabletop epoxy that I used for a desk build and for the top of this because I happen to have some left over. This wasn't any of the epoxy that I used for the countertops up at the lake house. And we haven't really used that kitchen, so not sure how that's holding up as well. But having done several different types of counters, we did the epoxy top on the vanity right there. I'm walking outside right now into the porch so that you guys can see the concrete countertops that we did, which are holding up great. I mean, they're concrete. They are outside here on the outdoor kitchen. This is thick concrete right here. And hang on a second, we'll go into another room. And in here is the laundry room, which we did the floor and the cabinets and the countertops in here. And this is laminate. So I have experience doing laminate, concrete, and epoxy countertops. So far, if I was to do it again, if I could do really nice thin concrete, I would probably do that if I could convince the wife. But the order of operations, if I was to do it right now, would be laminate countertops, concrete countertops, epoxy countertops. That's just my opinion. If you guys have differing opinions, I'd love to see that in the comments down below and tell me why. Your opinion doesn't really matter if you don't have some fact to back it up, in my opinion, which is just my opinion. So anyway, we're going to sand this up. Kids are out right now, so they can't come in and mess it up is my point. We're gonna take the faucet off there, we'll scratch it up, and see if we can get a new coat on there within an hour or so. See what we can do. I should have known that the hardest part of this was gonna be getting this faucet off. Always plumbing problems. Always plumbing problems. But there we go. So this is a 3x4 SurfPrep, and if you have a 1-inch hose, which I happen to on my Mirka dust extractor, you're good to go. So the hose for the Mirka sander hose goes on the inside. The Mirka sander connects to the inside of the Mirka hose. The SurfPrep sander connects to over the outside of the Mirka hose. Pretty slick. And I can plug right into the power of the dust extractor. And when I fire up my SurfPrep, it'll turn on the sander for us. So we're ready to go. I'm going to go ahead. Couple of things actually. So the Mirka sander, random orbit round sander, that has a 5-inch orbit pattern. This has a 5-inch, a 5 millimeter orbit pattern, and it's obviously round, so it would be difficult to get into areas with this. This has a 3 millimeter orbit pattern, so it's going to be a much finer finish, which is why I wanted this sander to go do cabinets and stuff like that. So I'm wondering if that's part of the problem here, but really I think that the epoxy just cracked over time, whether that was because the wood underneath moved or it just fractured. I'm not really sure. So we're going to go ahead and sand it, see if we can get to the bottom of those fissures, then we'll put some more on. Work our way up probably only to 220. I don't think we'll want to go any higher than that. If I can chip stuff off, like right here with my knife, I'll do that. Less to sand. corners are always the problem. So hopefully got that. I'll definitely keep an eye on the corners there, and hopefully we don't lose anything here. These are the holes for the faucet, and then I got a trash bag taped in here. So the plan is to pour the epoxy, let it set up a little bit, pull up on the edge, and then we will pull this tape off. Got tape sitting here on the bottom, so hopefully it doesn't just come pouring off. When we pull this off, it'll already be pretty well set up, so it'll just drip over the top a little bit. Same scenario for in here, because we want good coverage when we pull this off, because this is where the sink is. So let's mix something up. We'll mix up a quart, see how far that goes. While we're waiting for that epoxy to set up, I would like to take a pause and thank the sponsor of today's video, who is Green Machine. They manufacture battery-powered outdoor power tools with a 5-year limited warranty on the tools, 3 years on the battery, and I'm using their string trimmer with carbon fiber shaft around our yard right now. With its 62-volt battery, this trimmer can destroy long, shaggy grass like you see me going through right now with no problem at all. You can find Green Machine outdoor power tools exclusively online at thehomedepot.com. The next day now, top looks great, but it actually set up a little too much before I was able to get the tape off of there. So what I've done here is I've mixed up 8 ounces, 4 ounces of epoxy, and I've started to let it set up a little bit. So it's a little bit more sticky, doesn't flow as much. So I'm going to go ahead and brush some of that on there, and then I'll actually use my hand with a nitrile glove to make sure we got good coverage, because we see a lot of drips right here. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure we get a thick coat on there, and then we'll come back with the SurfPrep and we'll sand that down a little bit. So the epoxy has all cured up now, nice and hard. It's been almost 2 days, and I'm now using the SurfPrep with a thicker pad to go over the edges. So inside here I had quite a bit of epoxy built up, and I actually used the multi-tool to cut that off. And I started at 100 grit and really worked down any drips, and now I'm working my way all the way up to 320, and I will probably also scuff sand the top with 320 just so it's not so shiny. And the SurfPrep has this pad on here, so I can kind of wrap around the corner pretty easily. It works out very, very well. I think I'm sitting at 220 right now. Well, as you can see, everything turned out quite well. Had to do a little bit of extracurricular sanding on the outside here to make sure those drips that had formed were nice and smoothed out. But overall, everything looks very good. But epoxy would still be my third choice in line if I was gonna do some countertops again. Hope you guys enjoyed this repair video and it helps some of you out. If it did, please hit that thumbs up button as it helps us out and gets this video in front of more eyes. I'm DIYTyler, and you guys have a good one.